Today we're going to be talking about Roy Lichtenstein, and I see what you did with what you wearing today. I done seen you.
Well, thank
you. Very nice. His pop art style is very reminiscent of this. And by pop art, we mean popular culture, what was popular at the time in the 1960s. He was very well known for his, what we would call today halftone, but those dots that you see on all of his artwork, those are Ben-Day dot stencils, and we're going to talk a little bit about that.
So to give some context to the era, pop art really was artists thumbing their nose at the elite world that had infiltrated the art community. And so a lot of people will see it as very simplistic or not even consider it art at all, especially at that time. But really what they were doing is looking around at what was available to the general consumer and giving back art to the masses by giving them things that they were familiar with, that was nostalgic to them, instead of having this kind of highbrow, upper crust only delineation that existed prior to this. So even if you don't appreciate the art for the material that it is, you should definitely appreciate where it was born from.
Yeah.
At least the whole idea of it.
And I think it was, in history, you can only do so much and duplicate so much. I feel like stuff of his nature, the art that he did, same thing with, who's the other? Warhol, yeah, Andy Warhol. It was bound to happen anyways. But because of what you just said, I wanted to kind of get into some of the plagiarism and things of that nature that a lot of artists claim that he did. And it's really up to your own discretion as to whether you think he did or not. And that's sort of the topic. He's kind of a hot topic in that area on that. Is it plagiarism? Is it really art? But is it art? He took a lot of small images and made them bigger, which is, I think, kind of a cool concept, because with comic book art, obviously it's a book, it's meant to be looked within your hands and then at, this length. But he would take an image, modify it, and make it ginormous, which I think is kind of a cool concept. And again, he worked with a lot of that stenciling. Essentially, his process was to take a clip of something that already existed, modify it, put it on a projector, and then draw it on a canvas and then paint on that canvas. And he worked with a lot of manga paint, which has a flat, glossy finish to it, which kind of mimicked the printing process, which was pretty interesting. And again, the dots. I really like his work for the dots. It's literally his trademark.
Yeah.
And at some point, he did hand draw and hand paint all of those dots.
Crazy.
Yeah, but then he was like, this takes too much time. I'm using stencil. So he decided to use stencils, but it's very much his trademark.
Yeah. And I think it really kind of gives a little bit of extra depth while still keeping that simplicity, taking the inspiration from comics and stuff and those dark, wide lines and the really graphic nature of his work didn't really exist prior.
Yes.
And except for the things that he was channeling, like, some of the, like he did a diagram of how to trace your foot to measure for your shoe size from like a Sears catalog or something, that up, and people are like, but it begs the question, what about all those people who are doing that art and being recognized? Like, somebody's got to draw stuff for the catalog.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to come up with your posters for your drawing. Like, that widely gets ignored. And really, it's kind of a way of acknowledging those artists, too. Even if you get into that whole, is it theft thing?
Yeah. And maybe that's why he also said that it was not so much the finished piece that was the joy. It was like the process of making it.
Yeah.
Interesting. We want to cover some of his pieces. We have a Hopeless 1963. And this one, if you were to Google Roy Lichtenstein or Lichtenstein, however you want to say it, you're probably going to come up with this image. Really cute.
It's so cute. It's so cute. All those tears.
Yeah.
Adorable.
So if you were to look at what the original artist did beforehand, you can see some of the differences that he did. He would take away maybe the words, change a few lines here and there. But that's one of his famous pieces that she would see. And he also did some sculpting. If you scroll down a little bit, yes, you'll see this one called House One, literally a sculpture, very flat, that 2D, the strong, the line work, flat colors.
It's like a wood cutout.
Very.
It's crazy. Oh, man. And then when you see that's crazy if you change your perspective.
Yeah,
so it totally morphs it. Oh,
yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah, that I actually
seen that one.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I didn't know that he did sculptures actually, like, of that scale. Here's piece of Modern Art 1. He was inspired by Cubism and Expressionism. You can definitely see his classic Roy Lichtenstein, dots in this piece, but you can definitely tell, like, you can see the Cubism, you can see those bold lines in this piece. I actually kind of like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a really good marriage. Like,
Yeah.
it's so good at taking inspiration from famous artworks and stuff and kind of paying homage to them, but it still reads as his style.
Yeah.
With the bold lines and the monochromatic colors and the dots, everything kind of like, you could tell it's his work, but it's cool how he kind of combines it.
Yes.
And it actually kind of makes me think of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Where you do a painting or whatever, and then you see somebody else duplicate it, and you're like, I actually like theirs better.
Yes.
And I know that happens with musicians a lot, too.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Do a cover, and
They're like, I like that version better.
They do it like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I have several of them like that they totally approved of, so
Very
pretty
true.
cool. I like that kind of idea.
Yeah, I do too.
Thank you for watching this clip of Spotlight with Purple Easel.
We're art instructors at SoCal's largest paint and sip studio.
Check out purpleeaselplus.com to join the largest online paint and sip community.
And you want to make sure to like, subscribe, follow, ring that bell, add to the conversation, comment below, and check out our full episodes at Purple Easel Spotlight.
We'll see you soon.